Since 2017 and now, the national grid has collapsed over 46 times. And this Easter is another shining example of how the transmission company of Nigeria, I think that's what they're called, TCN, actually have been handling electricity in Nigeria. Well, darkness across Nigeria, plunged Nigerians into darkness as we celebrated Easter. According to sources from the electricity distribution companies in Nigeria, the grid collapsed around 4:30 p.m. on Thursday last week. Now, the implication is that millions of homes and businesses across states were left without power from the national grid. Now, major power generation plants such as Egbi, Afam, Geregu, Ibom Power, Jeba, Kainji, Odukpani, Olorushogo, amongst others, they all remain dormant, and this further exacerbated the electricity deficit nationwide. Now, according to information put out there by the electricity distribution companies, the grid's output, which stood at 2,984 megawatts as at 4 p.m. Thursday, plunged to zero within an hour, with all 21 plants connected to the grid ceasing operations by 5 p.m. And even though it looks like some semblance of power has been restored to the national grid, it is still not yet Uhuru. We continue to battle this. Like I mentioned, since 2017 till now, about 46 times the national grid has collapsed. Mr. Zukama.
Well, it has collapsed 4 times this year.
In 3 months, yeah.
In 3 months. So it becomes a child's play, it becomes something, it becomes comical, because how can the national grid, the collapse of national grid is a big deal. It's something monumental. So that it has happened 4 times already this year. It leaves a lot to be desired. It doesn't take much to generate electricity. Ghana, for one, has been having consistent supply of electricity that in a whole year there won't be even one interruption. Okay, and when I was a kid in the 60s and 70s, there was never power outages. It became a phenomenon after the Civil War, 70s and 80s. But it wasn't that bad because I was in the US when somebody told me that he bought a generator. And I asked him, what is a generator? Because up till the 80s, we periodically had power outages. But it wasn't to the extent of demanding you having your own electric generator. So I didn't know what a generator is. So you use it to generate electricity. So it's gone so bad, and with the privatization, people think it will get better. But it has not gotten better. So it remains the same problem with Nigeria. Lack of political will, corruption, deliberate attempt to get things not to function. But whatever it is, we are sick and tired of it. And it's high time the government, the leaders of this country, turn things around. Because without electricity, nothing is functioning, nothing can function. Companies, manufacturing companies, and all forms of businesses are leaving Nigeria in droves. So, which immediately translates to unemployment. But it seems like nobody cares, nobody wants to know. And Nigerians hold their hands and look around our leaders. It's like they're absent-minded. They leave you on earth with us, but their mind is in cloud 9 or something. So I don't know what to say. I don't know. And I just sit down, look, shuffling and smiling. Chizaka said it. That despite the hardship in the country, Nigerians are still smiling. And Fela sang about it long ago. He called it suffering and smiling. So we're still suffering and we're still smiling.
Thank you, Mr. Zukama. All right, to bring you in, Prince Chilaka, we've always had issues with power, which Mr. Zukama also mentioned, and then we thought privatization would be, the solution to all of that. But then, unfortunately, since privatization of the power sector, which is a little over 10 years ago, the national grid from that time till now has collapsed about 141 times. 141 times. That's a staggering, number for the national grid to collapse, on us as Nigerians. And then the power minister, recently came out to assure Nigerians again that very soon we will be enjoying uninterrupted power supply. Do you have faith in all of these promises, and do you actually think that there will be any time soon we're getting out of this dilemma?
Let me take it up with the minister. I have come to that realization that those who get appointed as ministers, once they get in there, they lose touch with the reality of what is on ground in Nigeria. It's like the roads that are not functional. The minister will tell you, give us 6 months, give us 2 months. I remember in the last administration, Babatunde Fashola, in one of those his famous quotes, says, if after 6 months and they don't give Nigerians power, we should vote them out. And when they got to the time of voting, we know what played out. Unfortunately, privatization, as people will say, was supposed to be a solution, was supposed to be a way out. But I keep asking one question. Those who ended up buying these government assets, what did they bring to the table? What did they bring? What infrastructural asset have they brought into the power sector? Because this collapse shows you that we're still using the same old system we had.
Obsolete.
Completely absolute system that nothing has been done. So it means the power sector was handed over to a set of bourgeois who are milking the Nigerian people dry. You are paying for a service that is not rendered to you. If you remember, there was something Fashola did when he was Minister for Power. He came up and said that these discos, or whatever you want to call them, were collecting 750 naira per household every month, whether they give you light or not. It shows you that even those in government and those out of government and those that the government favor, it's all about cheating the ordinary Nigerian people. Nobody cares about the poor Nigerians.
But that has since been resolved.
How did you resolve it?
The 750.
Yes, it was removed.
It was resolved. Yeah.
Now, I'm going to ask another question.
I'm just saying so that
what will it cost
know,
this government, or even the previous government, what will it cost them to meter the entire country? Why was metering not part of the deal entered into with the discos? There are people who are still getting, approximated bills going in millions. So this whole thing about the collapse of the national grid is a shameful thing. And it is high time that government takes responsibility. Unfortunately, we have a country where leaders do not like to take responsibility for actions. They do not. And the moment you begin to question them, the moment you try to hold them responsible, they come after you. If Nigeria was a country that was functioning, the Minister for Power should have resigned.
Of course.
He should have resigned. But nobody resigns.
Defense.
Because the ordinary Nigerians, the laws of the land, do not give the ordinary Nigerians the right.
But then another school of thought would want to ask, resigning, would that resolve or make the light issue any better?
No. You see, patience.
What would that do?
Patience, let me tell you something. Sorry, I'm coming. When people are faced with the reality, when there is punishment for a crime, you will reduce that crime. But when people feel they can get away with whatever they do, if a minister finds out that there's a plane crash and there's negligence and he resigns, what it means that the next person coming there would know that it is not Uhuru, like you said. But the way it is in Nigeria, nobody resigns. Nobody is held responsible. The minister will give you 1,001 reasons why the grid collapsed under his watch. And he's collecting salary from taxpayers' money. But he's not rendering that service for which he's employed.
Yeah, resigning means you take responsibilities for your actions. I think it was in South Korea where a prime minister resigned because children got children drowned in some school. So you take responsibility. You're not here for the fun of it. You're here to serve the people. And once you cannot do it, you must step aside. So you either shape up or you shape out. That's the thing. So it's extremely important that people resign. They do not lose touch when they come to power. But the thing is that the cabals or the cabal or cabals that run this country benefit from the disorder. They benefit from the lawlessness and sometimes the pains and suffering of the people. We can recall that Goodluck Jonathan once appointed a man called, what is his name? The man that played a role in building the power station in Aba. Naji. And then Naji lived in America for a very long time. So he came with the desire to work for Nigeria. But he wasn't a part of that corrupt, greedy setup. He did a lot of work. He was to really take the power supply to a new level, resolve the problems. But he had to be removed. Not for any, he didn't resign, he was forced out. Because those that benefit from power shortages, power outages, couldn't stand him. You benefit from importation of generators. You benefit from fuel subsidy, and private generation of power increases the fuel subsidy, and so on and so forth. And you are to fix NEPA. You are to fix power. Is it possible getting what's their name? These water suppliers, pure water and bottled water makers to fix water corporation. A conflict of interest. And so those that are there benefit. And once you get in there, you get entrapped in that network. That's why they don't lose sight.
All right, so, but at the bottom of the ladder are Nigerians, ordinary Nigerians who were plunged into darkness the entire Easter holiday, all right, because of the blackout caused by the collapse of the national grid. Now, this is becoming really worrisome for a lot of Nigerians because despite privatization that is supposed to lead to revitalization of the power sector, the national grid keeps collapsing and collapsing, and it's become a major setback, you know, for Nigeria, you know, in terms of power.